Okay, let's talk CSS now. Stands for Cascading Style Sheet. And in order to make a website, if you just don't want it to be just bunched along with everything else, you're going to need a style sheet of some sort that's going to be your underlying background for your website. And there are three methods that I recommend, and you can write your own style sheet anytime you want to. But I kind of focus a little bit more on the code and try and stay out of the style sheet business. Although various style sheets are needed because your website could probably have a whole bunch of different styles. So the first thing that I want to talk about right now is a style sheet called the 960 grid system. I'm going to go to their website, and it's 960.gs. And if you'll look along here, it'll give you a download button, it'll give you the layout. But let me just go over what this layout is and what it's good for. If you'll look over to your left-hand side, you've got a wide gutter here, you've got a wide gutter here. And what the 960 grid system is based around is it's based around 960 pixels, which most computers can handle, and most devices will make this fit to the screen. But as you go down, you can see that you can space. Here you can see 3 paragraphs spaced. Here you can see 2 paragraphs spaced. It essentially gives you locations where you can put parts of your grid. And there's a big explanation on the website. I can't spend like an hour telling you about this system. But let's look at some websites that are using that. You have Wireframe Toolkit, Brand Rich Media, goes down a little bit of Sicily, Nick Thick. Sony Music, I find that interesting. Sony Music uses the 960 grid system, and if you hit this little button, Show Grid, it will show you how their layout is made. And it's a 16 column. You have a choice between 16, 24, and 12 columns. So let's look at Drupal, which is another huge website, and they're on a 12 column grid system. Fedora Project, 5x5. Some of these websites you've heard of, some of them you haven't. Some are really big websites, and some aren't all that big. Some are just a little more notable for using the 960 grid system. But the 960 grid system is a very good system for just the ability to lay things out in a somewhat functional manner. Let's show this 12 column right here, and you can see how the images are on this system. And a whole lot of developers use the 960 grid system. I like the 960 grid system. It adds simplicity. I typically bump this to 980, but you can do what you want. Look it over and see what you think of the 960 grid system. I'll show you a couple of examples of websites that I have built on the 960 grid system. And this is cook-this.com. And let me explain these grids to you. Basically, I've got a header which I run my AdSense on the top in, and then down below that header I've got another 3 column which shows a menu and a search bar on the left hand side, and then in the middle it gives you the ability to tweet. It gives you the ability to follow this Twitter account, and we're also going to get into that, which is this has an automatic tweeting device attached to it, and I'll open that here in a second. You can take a look, and shows how many followers, and you can also like this on Facebook or send it on Facebook. And then you go over to the right again, and this is a whole new column, and this holds oh shoot, did not want to click that because you get in trouble clicking your own ads. Anyway, this shows a bunch of more AdSense, and then in the center I've got the menu, and then down below you can see that there's a printer friendly version and another ad down here. And these ads off to the left are Commission Junction, and I have the maximum capacity of AdSense ads, which is this one up top, this one on the right, and this one on the bottom. And if you click printer-friendly version. It won't give you the advertisements. It won't give you the black background. And it's also built on the 960 grid system, but there's really very little of anything over here and a little of anything over here, and just the recipe, and I've omitted all the ads from that. Now let's go on to the next one, which I really like for news, and it's called the Holy Grail layout. So I'm going to go to Florablog, which is my Florida news channel, and it pulls from 83 news feeds, got 95,057 stories as of when I had opened that window. Now it's gone up 10 stories. This automatically collects stories, and it's probably going to be one of the first projects that we work on, how to collect stories from news feeds. You can tell that this tweets on Florablog, and it's got 2,478 at the moment followers. And you can tweet this story, you can like this story. This story has already been automatically tweeted by my tweeting program. And then let me go into the layout a little bit. This layout gives you tabs. I'll probably change these because I don't. I've got a union select here which will fill everything with just a lot of stuff, and these are becoming a little cumbersome with almost 90,000 stories in there. Got advertising on the left, advertising here, and then on the right I've got a feed that has collected all these stories and gives you the most recent stories in order of most recent coming down. But what you might notice about this versus the 960 system is this takes the entire width of whatever screen is available, and it chops into a left, center, and right column. First it has a header, which this header system here is all the way across whatever size screen you have, and this actually looks really good on smartphones and things of that nature, although it's kind of small and you have to increase it from there. But you can see that it has 3 columns down the center, and it uses the entire 100% of the screen. It's not pixel oriented. It doesn't count the pixels. It's more a percent oriented. And we're going to be using this for news, which is what I use it for here. And then down at the bottom, if you go to Florablog, there's links to this Holy Grail 3-column liquid layout by Matthew James Taylor. Don't know if there's any relation to the James Taylor or whatever. And he's got view more website layouts. So let's go to his website, which I've already opened in a new window. And he has a number of layouts, and these layouts, as you can tell, they're oriented with many different size devices. He has more than one layout type. I use the Holy Grail layout because it's a good news layout and it will fit any screen that I use it on. So now let's go on to the very next, which is predefined templates that you can find on the internet that people have built, and they're free templates, and if you just search free template you can find those. Here's an example of a website that I built for myself early on, long before I got into PHP, and this is just imlen.com, and this is an HTML template, and it's actually built on the 960 grid system, and it's what made me find the 960 grid system. But it's a template that you can just find online, and then you just go in and correct and put your own stuff in there. The nice thing about templates is all of the heavy lifting is already done. All you have to do in these sliders is just replace these images. If you right click and you put view image, and then you take the image address, you can actually replace this image with an image of exactly the same name and upload it, and then your image will overwrite the image that they put in there. It's kind of a handy way to go if you don't really want to spend a whole lot of time with CSS and development there. I would highly recommend you go with a pre-made template. But if you're comfortable working a little bit with CSS, and we're going to need that on the website layout for the Holy Grail, if you're going to follow the news collection website that or portion of the website that I'm going to do. So yeah, and okay, let's go to my website. This is my website, my home website. And I just want to tell you that I have used the 960 grid as the basic layout for my website, but I've gone and put a whole bunch of stuff in there. You might have just noticed on the video how the background changed, and if you give it a minute it'll change again, and so will the foreground. This slider changes. I can link from this slider, and you can see the background changed. Another thing you can see is this is a CSS arch. We'll get into how to make that later on. This is actually an image, and it's a transparent image, so whatever happens underneath here as far as changing the colors is fine. I have a QR code in case someone wants to scan the website and go to the mobile website. I have a link to my Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, and YouTube. So if you were to click any of these links, it would just take you in a new window to, for example, my YouTube account. And down here I have a very interesting menu that I have in an includes file. We'll get into how to do that later. If you're following any of my things, like for example you want to define hosting here, you would click pages, and the first one that comes up is web hosting links. I've only got one of the hosts that I just got done recommending in the last video here, but we'll get more. And anyway, these are the different grid system CSS packages that you can apply to the websites. So I know I need to make the front of phprocks.com because I'm using a template that I actually paid money for on phprocks.com, but I'm actually going to template that out into something, you know, of my own design, and I'm going to use the 960 grid system for the front of PHP Rocks. However, what I'd like to think is going to be the first project is going to be that news collection project, and as we get into the news collection project, that's going to be in a folder called News. So let's see if I'm in the right server. Yes, I am, for PHP Rocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that template that I have in there now that I started working on, and I'm going to build an entirely new template. And one of these directories is going to say News, and when you hit that directory, that's going to go into our very first news collection project. And I'm pretty excited about this project, and I will go ahead and explain it in the next video. But these are the CSS systems that we're going to be using for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please thumbs up, comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.